I want to welcome our guest speaker today, Gabriel Enxuga. I met Gabriel for the first time when we had the municipal election debate here at the church. And one of the things that really impressed me about Gabriel was how he was able to get so much said in 90 seconds. Slow down a little bit today. Gabriel has been a long-time community activist in Dartmouth and across Nova Scotia. Originally from Antigonish, Gabriel moved to Halifax in 2010 to go to Dow and has continued to be an activist for ACORN and the queer and trans community. And ACORN is a membership-based and poverty organization that unites low-income communities in the struggle for social and economic justice. So Gabriel, we are very pleased to welcome you to our pulpit.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me here to speak today. It's actually quite an honor to be here. This is the first time that I have been to service here at Grace United Church, so it really is an honor to be here today as you celebrate becoming an affirming ministry. And I want to commend you on the work that you've been doing here in our community to promote justice and peace and social inclusion. So I have been involved in community. For several years, I worked as a community organizer with ACORN, an anti-poverty organization. I went door to door in low-income communities like North End Halifax, Spryfield, and here in Dartmouth North, organizing residents to fight for social and economic justice. More recently, I have begun working with the Youth Project, a local LGBTQ youth resource center. And in my work, I travel around the province doing education with school-age students and adults about gender identity and sexual orientation. So I really like the term affirming ministry. I think that it's very appropriate. In the education work that I do, I use something that's called the Riddle scale of homophobia. So it's used to measure homophobic attitudes on a scale from repulsion to nurturance. And what I find interesting about this scale is that tolerance is actually quite low. It sits somewhere just below support, but above pity. Because you see that I think that tolerance is actually quite a low bar to set. We need to tolerate going to the dentist, but we need to do more than just tolerate our friends and our family and our neighbors and our community members. So at the end of the scale sits admiration, appreciation, and nurturance. And I think that this is important because we need to strive for more than acceptance. We need to ask ourselves not only how we can include others, but also how we can appreciate, support, and nurture others. We need to recognize the valuable skills, strengths, and experiences that we all bring to the table. And we need to recognize the importance of different voices and experiences. Because we need to celebrate both what unites us and what makes us different. And to me, this is the fabric of social inclusion. This is building community, and this is affirmation. And this requires action. It is the responsibility of all of us to act. Because social change is not just about other people, it is also about us. It is about self-reflection and exploration. It is about being honest about our biases, prejudices, and beliefs. It is about recognizing that we grew up in a world that taught us to fear what is different, to distrust our neighbors, and to believe that some people are better than others. So we have all internalized these toxic messages, but that doesn't make us bad people. That makes us products of the world that we grew up in. But we do have the capacity to learn and to grow and to change. I think that it takes true courage, true bravery to shine the light inside to those deepest, darkest corners of ourselves and examine what is there. We have to sit with discomfort. We have to hold space for the parts of ourselves that might make us uncomfortable or embarrassed or ashamed, and we have to be honest. Because it is only when we are honest with ourselves and with others that we are able to heal and grow. So we all have work to do. I'm not perfect, and I have made mistakes, I have hurt people, I have perpetuated injustice, but I also believe that I am a good person. And I believe that I can become a better person. And I believe that we all can. And I believe that we can stand hand in hand and build a better world for all of us. Because for me, social inclusion is more than just saying, the door is open, come on in. It's about walking side by side. It's about standing together. It's about collaboration. It's about solidarity. And it's about recognizing that our individual well-being is actually tied up in our collective well-being. Because we live in a world that teaches us to think about ourselves as individuals, that pits us against each other for survival. But this is a lie, because all of us are interdependent. We are all members of families, neighborhoods, communities. We need each other, and we need each other for more than just the basic necessities. We need each other to create a world that allows we need each other to create the conditions that will allow all of us to flourish, that will enable each and every one of us to reach our full human potential. And this is important. This is about asking ourselves, what kind of world do we want to live in? Because poverty is not the fault of an individual. Marginalization and discrimination are not the fault of an individual. Social injustice and inequality are created by the systems that we live in, and if we built these systems, then we can change them. Some people might say that it is impossible. Some people might say that human beings are too selfish, too apathetic, too lazy, but I don't believe that. Because we're not just talking about what's better for other people, we're actually talking about what is better for us and what's best for all of us. So I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world without poverty. I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world where every person had housing, food, and health care, where children never went hungry, and where every family had a home. I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world without racism and colonialism. I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world where no one was ever denied a job because of the color of their skin, and where the indigenous children of this land could grow up speaking their language and proud of their culture, heritage, and identity. I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world without sexism and patriarchy. I believe that my life would be better if we actually believed women, if women had control over their bodies, and where single motherhood was no longer the #1 risk factor for poverty. I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world without ableism. I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world where people weren't told that their bodies were sick or broken or wrong, where we prioritized accessibility, where every person could live with dignity. And I believe that my life would be better if I lived in a world without homophobia and transphobia. I believe that my life would be better if no one was ever made to feel ashamed of their love, if it didn't matter if children played with trucks or dolls, where we could truly celebrate all expressions of gender, love, and sexuality. This is the world that I want to live in, and I hope that we can build it together. Thank you.